I'm going to touch a little bit on damp. And I'm not wanting to steal anybody's thunder that's going to follow me, but I came across this little bit of kit this week, which I think sounds tremendous. There we go. I don't know about you, but I certainly feel an awful lot of condensation and mould is caused by the tenant's lifestyle. I don't know whether people would agree with that. How many times I've been out and talked to tenants who, don't open the windows, don't ventilate the house, and don't put the heating on. And in fairness, it's a bigger problem now than it was 12 months ago with the rise in electric and gas prices. And it's very difficult to say to a tenant, I don't believe you. I don't think you are heating the house. We've got to accept their word for it. The one thing that we do know is that if you don't heat the house, then warm air holds moisture. As it gets colder, that moisture has to then condense onto the property, and we'll be talking about that later. So, a possible solution to the problem is that we try and measure how much humidity is in the property, how much heat they are putting into the property. I came across this little bit of kit. It's a data logger. Very simple, very small. You can put it into the property and it'll record temperatures and humidity over sort of 5 days. Recommendation would be you probably put it in on a Thursday, take it out on a Tuesday, so that you also get the weekend when hopefully they're going to heat the house. And I'm going to give credit here because Gwen confirms that their environmental health officers are now using these because you've always had it, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, clever clothes. So, I've got to say, I think it's one of the first times, Gwen, that we've seen eye to eye on something. But it logs the data, and after that, those of you who want to take a picture, that's the link to find them on the website. But what you can do, take it home, link it to your computer, and hey presto, it will print you a graph out. And that graph looks something like that. Your top one is your temperature. The blue line in the middle is the humidity. The bottom line is the dew point, which is less important. But you can see that when the temperature rises, the humidity levels drop dramatically. And to me, you can then say to the tenant, well, hang on, you're telling me you're heating this house. This says otherwise. I'm sorry, but you're creating the problem here, not the house.
There's no other premise that you're going to understand if a tenant's lying to you and saying, I'm heating the house, and they're not. There's nothing stopping them from removing it and putting it somewhere else. They could go to another whose house is heated all the time. There's nothing it's going to stay there.
All right.
Bruce,
I'm not
should I
going to say.
explain that?
Yeah.
So good point. So in the council we actually get security tags and I actually use evidence tags and actually secure it to maybe a wardrobe handle or something actually can't be moved. And that way, if you actually see, because what I have numbers on them, you can keep a log of the tag. So that we actually secure, because it's important to have a little loop.
It's got a little hole in the top here.
Yeah, so to literally get security tag, tie it to a bedroom door handle or something where it's safe, it can't then be moved by the tenant. So secure
Stick a little cable tie in or something like that. So, you could say to them, well, I want to measure the humidity in the house so that we can try and identify where the problem is. You didn't tell them that you're measuring the temperature as well. Is that dishonest?
I didn't, yes, I
I just said you're telling me you're measuring the humidity. you forget to tell them that you're also going to measure the temperature.
Why don't you do both?
Well,
Because both are linked, aren't
yeah.
they?
It is difficult though, because doing something like that can antagonise the tenant. They're not willing to accept your explanation as to why they're suffering from black spot mould and what have you, and you're convinced it's their issue. Putting something like that in. I mean, what I've resorted to doing now is just giving them environmental health email address and said, they'll open a case for you within 24 hours.
Well,
and as soon as you say email environmental health, not interested, they want you to come with a magic wand and sort the problems.
They'll also want some compensation, they'll want some rent back and things like that.
How cynical, Bruce.
Sorry, Mon, I am speaking from experience here. It's a bit like that statement that somebody said, not all tenants on benefits are a problem. However, virtually all the tenants I've had that were a problem were on benefits. And I can only speak from experience on that one, but that's another issue. But no, the conclusion, you're able to sort of determine whether the property's getting taken or not, which to me is halfway there. You also are covering yourself that if they want to make a big issue of it, they go to the council, you have got a defence that you've done something and you've identified that it's actually not the house that's the problem, but it's the way the tenants are living.
Do you know that particular device that you've got there?
Yeah.
How, you know when you put it, say you put it in one of your properties, is it linked to that property? Can you register? Because obviously
No, you then print it off. You come back and clear the memory.
Yeah, but how would that time, when you say for instance your property is 20, God knows what address, how at that point can you say that was at that particular property that date? How can you make it if it was just go to the council?
I think it has a...
I don't know if Gwen can cover this, but you said you physically attach them to the property so they can't be moved. I would imagine it's got a serial number on.
It'll have a serial
you get
number.
the tenant to sign to confirm that you put it in, you took it out on
So
a
have
certain
some sort
day.
of log in it.
Yeah.
That itself doesn't do anything, it's a graph.
Yeah.
I can make that graph
That's what I'm
for
saying,
you.
how could you
but
say it was that particular property? That's what
I
I'm
couldn't
saying.
make the graphs for you.
I'm going to hold my hands up and say, it arrived in the post yesterday afternoon. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet.
Turn it on now, Bruce, we'll look at it and see what happens across this meeting. We'll see.
Yeah.
But we are going to start renting them out as well.
But it's something, I mean, all I'm going to say is that the machine, the bit of kit plus the software that goes with it comes out at about 160 quid. It's tax deductible. You can probably spend that amount on one call out and one hassle with one tenant. So it might be something that you want to have, there. So I don't want to sort of encroach any more on damp.
How do you stop tenants knowing that you've got these monitoring devices? They'll probably use the heating more, knowing the devices are there, and then revert to their old behaviours when the devices are gone.
You can't legislate for that, in fairness. So, whether Gwen's putting it in or I'm putting it in, the problem is still going to be there. However, if you go and the windows are running when you put it in, but they're not running when you come back, you're going to kind of say, well, yes, that's why you put the heating up. Just really a little reminder, capital gains tax. Current year, 12,300. As of April, it goes down to 6,000. It's getting halved. And then next year, it halves again. So if you are thinking about selling anything, you might want to take that into account at the moment. That's just really a little warning for you. I'm going to bang on a little bit again about EPCs. I know we talked about them at the last meeting. Just to remind you that come 2025, if the legislation that's going through Parliament is accepted, then as of 2025, all new tenancies will have to be a C or better. And then from 2028, all your tenancies are going to have to be a C or better. Bearing in mind that an awful lot of EPCs will be coming up for renewal because they only last you 10 years, I'm going to sort of just say, look at your EPCs on your properties. When are they due for renewal? Do you want to renew them now and get a D rating to then have to pay to get it redone in 3 years' time? It would be more cost effective to probably bite the bullet and say, right, we need to do something now before I get it reassessed.
And then worry about it after the 10 years.
Yes, basically.
Sorry, Bruce, all I would say to that is, if it's an old one, if it's coming up to 10 years, I think they've changed the way they assess them, because I've had a couple where we've just had them reassessed and it's gone up and we've done nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you will know from our speaker last time, Martin, yes, they have changed things, and sometimes it's hard to establish why or what has caused that change. But my advice to anybody is, don't just bury your head in the sand. Look at it and think, can we do something simple that is going to increase, that we know is going to do it?
Can I just ask, people complain about the tax issues and different issues. Surely the EPC issue is the biggest issue in residential property management now. If let's say everyone's got enough money to make their property C-rated. There's not enough builders in the UK to do the work between now and 2030 to get property C-rated. So it's yet another thing that the government are bringing in without. It's the same as having an undesignated client account for property management. The government are asking for a product that doesn't exist. So why are we not lobbying the government for these things? It makes no sense.
All I'm going to say is refer you back to Martin's slide. Do you honestly think you're going to get any sensible answer out of them?
No.
I don't, personally. That might be a little bit contentious, but I don't think you will.
It's December the 31st, 2025. That's still a reasonably long. It's done very well, just gets swept under the carpet. Then, because if you look street by street in Jesmond, which is where predominantly your student-based properties are, you're looking at 80%, 90% of properties just getting wiped out, unless people take steps out. It's just there's already a homeless problem.
Even worse on the
I'm very conscious, gents, that
Can
we've got a lot of slides to get through, so we're all welcome to stay behind and have a natter on.
What I would suggest you do, the NRLA and the TDS have produced a little guide on EPCs and some quite good suggestions on how you can improve the efficiency on the property, and also in there are suggestions on how you can reduce sort of electric and gas usage, which you might be able to pass on to tenants to help them budget and reduce their spend. But one of the comments that I found, which I thought was quite interesting, is that they're sort of saying about dropping temperatures causing damp issues, and how the World Health Organization guidelines suggest that 21 degrees in the living room and 18 in the bedroom is what they would expect. I'm sorry, but even in your own houses, some of you might not manage to hit that. So, but that's the guidelines, and I don't think there's any harm in actually pointing that out to tenants. The other bit that's useful, and bear in mind, make sure when you have your inventories done at the start of the tenancy that if there is any dampness or mould in the property, then document it. It is much better to put a note on the inventory that there is evidence of it, and then at the end of the tenancy see whether it's got worse. If there's no mould because the place has been painted, whatever, and the place is black when the tenant moves out because they haven't done anything, then you've got an argument to actually recover some money from their deposit. So it just kind of touches on what Martin's talked about. Just to make it easy, if you're not a member of the NRLA, seriously think about it. Photograph the slide there. There's a link. We would ask you to use that link, because if you join the NRLA using our link, we actually get a small amount of money back, which helps to put on these events, which, as you know, are free. The only one in the area where you get food, trade stands, and interesting speakers, all for nothing.
Unless you need CPD evidence, in which case you do pay for that. Yeah, just in case
Which is a
wonder why
separate
you
issue.
pay, yeah. That's it.
All right, so that's the link anyway. So, there you go. Anybody want any quick questions before I pass on to...
If it's about damp or mould, it might be answered by
don't...
any of the next 3 lots of speakers. So
I'm not going to take any damp and mould questions, but...
I would just say, Bruce, go back to the EPC things, that there's more and more lenders offering green mortgage products if your EPC is an ABOC, and the average difference between a non-green product and a green product is about 0.2%, and it's considerable if you're going to do it for a 5-year period. So it might be worth spending a little bit of money to get your EPCs up to save some money on your mortgage.
There you go.
thank you very much, Bruce.
Come to the NEL, you go away with lots of little nuggets of knowledge.
When